We welcome you to the Eagles pregame show brought to you by SeatGeek. Ben Goldstein and Matt Brown. Eagles 3-0 take down once again to Tampa Bay to take on the undefeated Buccaneers in week 4 action. Matt, I know it's been a tough last 12 hours for you. Penn State, another tough one against the top 10 team, but hopefully the Eagles can turn it around for you today. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Ben. You know, it's been a rough 12 hours, and I'm really hoping that Eagles can change that. But no, I'm excited for football today. Wasn't excited for football last night after that game, but there's a lot of talk about this game. This, I truly feel like, is a battle between the two best teams in the NFC. I know there's been hype with other teams, Green Bay. We'll see them eventually. Detroit, even the Rams last week. You know, they're a really good team too. I truly feel today is the battle between the two best teams in the NFC, between the Eagles and the Buccaneers. I truly think it's a crapshoot game, in my opinion. Like, I know the Eagles are favored 3.5, whatever. I don't care about that line. This will be a back and forth game, and it's going to be a really, really tough game for the Eagles to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay is a tough place for the Eagles to play. We'll get more in depth into that in just a second. But let's talk about what is, for some reason, a big storyline: the weather. It's going to be. The real field is going to be over 100 on the field at kickoff. And the Eagles, they did something different. They have not won a game in Tampa in forever. And they've won one, but it was like an ugly game. Like, it's just been a rough time down in Tampa for the Eagles. So they left on Friday. They left a day early for the game. Do you care at all? Is this weak? Is this like anything? Should we care about this at all? Or does this mean for me, this means nothing?
It means a little bit. I shouldn't say I've been there, but definitely getting down to a place and acclimating to weather or a surrounding is certain sense. Like when the Eagles go out west, they travel to Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure they go a day early just to get on the time zone, stuff like that. And weather has been a little bit of a sour patch for them. You know, they up here in Philly, it's not always 100 degrees like it is down in Florida or out west like in the Los Angeleses or stuff like that. So I do think it's going to help them a little bit. Now, is that going to be the reason why they win this game because they went down a day early? No, not at all. They're going to win this game. They're going to have to win this game the same way they do, playing good defense, you know, running the ball like they can dominate, getting the passing game involved a little bit. But I do think this weather will have a little bit of effect on the game. It's going to make these guys, you know, a little tired. Thankfully, we have some depth now for defensive front line and getting replacements in. A big thing I'm really interested in is this team is notorious the last couple of years for being a team that just, you know, dominates you with time and possession. And I'm really interested to see today how the weather impacts that. If they can sustain long drives, you know, 10 to 15 play drives that take 6, 7, 8 minutes long of the game, will they be able to replicate that today? So that's something I'm really think the weather could impact today. But overall, I don't think it's going to be the major thing that shifts. Like, it's not going to be they went down a day early, so they're guaranteed to win now because they're going to acclimate. It will help a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be the end-all, end-all.
I think it can only help, but the people that are calling the Eagles weak for this and
that's crazy.
Come on, we need to relax. Now, last week, Eagles, of course, get the big win over Los Angeles at home. It was an epic final, that one. But after that, some bad things coming back. A lot of injuries for the Eagles. And the most notable one is Nolan Smith. He strained his triceps again on Sunday. He's expected to be out through the bye week, which is not until week 9. That would have him miss the next 5 games. He's a minimum of 4 the next 5 games for the Eagles. Of course, the Buccaneers today. They host the Broncos next week. They go to the Giants for Thursday Night Football. Go to Minnesota, play the Vikings. Then they're back home against the Giants, and then it's the bye week. So, I mean, you basically have 2 bye weeks in there with the Giants. But anyway, Nolan Smith will not return until November 10th, which is Monday night against Green Bay. Remember, Smith had the tricep surgery after the Super Bowl, and it looks like he has now reactivated the injury. Plan to get him some 6.5 sacks regular season last year. Had a franchise record 4 in the postseason, none so far this year. This is a big loss for the Eagles, and they do have depth at the position, but it's not, really great options.
No, and it's honestly, it's making that Zadarius Smith signing by Howie look even better now because you're getting a guy, I shouldn't say cheaply, but you're getting a guy at the time who could have been going to any other team who needs an edge rusher right now, and we have him going forward the rest of the season. No, but this is a big loss for the Eagles. Like you said, Nolan Smith hasn't recorded a sack yet this year, but we know how great Nolan Smith can be. We saw the fantastic postseason he put together last year. And it's going to be a little bit of a tough road these next couple games. Denver was a really big team that I thought we were going to dominate with our pass rush with everybody healthy because they've been struggling with that a little bit this year. Their offensive line hasn't been as great as they hoped. But today will be a really big one too, losing him. We're going to see the Eagles get hurt a little bit on the pass rush, a little bit more than they already have. I still think the middle is still going to be perfectly fine with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They've been playing outstanding. We'll talk about a little bit more of them in a bit, but I do think it's going to be the day where somebody has to step up for the edge rushers that are on the team. Josh Uche, Zadarius Smith that we just talked about, Ugbo Okonkwo. He's getting his first NFL start today, or not start, but first NFL appearance today, most likely. He's active and ready to go. It's going to hurt a little bit with Nolan Smith because he just brings so much. And we talk about how he hasn't had any sacks this year and he hasn't been playing that great. And that maybe could be because he's been just dealing with his injury for the first couple games. And now they're hoping to get ahead of the curve and get him healthy for the second half. Thankfully, after these next 2 weeks, things should get a little bit easier. You mentioned the Giants twice, Minnesota, who's getting the break speed off him right now by Pittsburgh, I'm pretty sure. And then the Giants, we know how the New York Giants are. Rookie quarterback, not really that great. So hopefully the big thing is we don't lose too many games in that time. And I don't think we do. We still got a great team. But if we can get Nolan Smith back 100% healthy for the second half of the season and for the playoffs as well, we're assuming, that would be really big for them because it basically gives them a fresh Nolan Smith from week 10 on, like a week 1 Nolan Smith. And that's something you really need going down the stretch. It's just guys healthy and guys ready to rock and roll. So it sucks losing him right now, but hopefully in the long run, this helps us, and this helps us win another Super Bowl. He's healthy at the end of the year.
That's for sure. Jacorian Bennett also plays in the IR along with wide receiver Darius Cooper. Jacorian Bennett, big one, cornerback 3 for the Eagles. He has outplayed the Eagles cornerback 2, however. So really, when you think about it, Jacorian Bennett really should be the CB2, but whatever. So no Bennett for at least the next 4 weeks. Adoree Jackson, he's supposed to be playing the full game. Inactive today. So no, Adoree Jackson got injured last week. So we're going to see Kelee Ringo start at cornerback 2 today. And he really did not have a very impressive training camp. He was really bad in those preseason games. He was told he would get his shot, and he needed to be ready. Here he is with his shot, and he needs to be ready to go today.
No, 100%. We're almost on the last life of Kelee Ringo. Like we need to realize this is his shot. There's not going to be many more. I'm not saying Adoree automatically gets that cornerback spot when he comes back healthy, but right now, I don't know how many more weeks Kelee Ringo or Adoree Jackson's going to have before they actually make a move. We got the trade. It's crazy to say trade deadline already, but we're only in week 4 right now. We're almost in October. October is right around when that deadline comes, and there's guys already poking around the cornerback trade rumors. I saw Reek Woolen this morning getting some buzz. Well, I'm sure Eagles fans will act accordingly to that report, but at some point, the Eagles got to make a move if they don't have an option at CB2. And right now, it's wide open. I don't think Adoree Jackson has earned that CB2 role. It's Kelee Ringo's for the taking if he really wants it. And this is his opportunity right now. He has the opportunity. And with a Tampa Bay team who Emeka Egbuka is going to be probably dealt with today by Quinyon Mitchell and the top corners. So I know Chris Godwin's a really good guy, but he's coming back first game of the season. The other Tampa Bay receivers aren't nothing crazy. Sterling Shepard. I can't even think of their 4th-string one, whoever it is. But so it's a really, I shouldn't say easy job today, but it's a job that Kelee Ringo, if he wants to be a starting cornerback on this team, should be able to handle today. And we're going to see right away if he's got it or not.
Yeah, big game for Kelee Ringo today, and he's definitely someone to be looking out for at that spot. All right, let's look at this Eagles-Tampa thing. The Eagles have lost 4 of their last 5 against Tampa. This is their 5th trip to Tampa in the last 5 years. That is wild to think about. You go 2021 playoff game, 22, 23, they went there twice. They went there last year. Now they're back there again. Just a lot of trips to Tampa and a lot of losses to Tampa as well. And since the 2002 NFC Championship game at Veterans Stadium, where Tampa closed down the Vet, the Eagles are 4-9 against Tampa. First of all, 14 matchups since 2002 is a lot against a team not in your division. But it just seems like the Eagles are always playing Tampa, and the Bucs just have our number.
No, 100%. It's funny you mentioned it. It's a lot for a team that you don't have in your division. Just the way they're kind of turning into like a new rival for us. We have the Chiefs. That's one of the new rivals that we say. And Tampa Bay, I would put right there. It feels like we're playing them every year. And that kind of happens when, they start winning divisions and start playing really well. And we do the same thing. You match up with them like that. But yeah, it's been a struggle bus down there. They just, for some reason, can't get going. It's maybe, I don't know if it's like we talked about earlier, the heat, or if they're just not able to get over that hump with the Tampa Bay teams that they put out there. The really big interesting thing is we've had some guys on this group of these teams who haven't played in certain games. And we'll talk about that in a little bit on what guys have and which have not. But as much as Tampa Bay has dominated us, I don't think it's really ever been a full one-on-one matchup. And we're not getting into that today with Mike Evans being out for Tampa Bay. But this Tampa Bay team, like I said, is still really good. And I truly think that this is the closest we've gotten in the last couple of years of a one-on-one, fully healthy teams going forward in a matchup.
Yeah, these teams have never matched up. The last time these two teams were matching up healthy was the 2023 Week 3 Monday night game,
Yeah.
and Eagles won that game.
It was ugly.
Yeah, we know about that 2023 Eagles team. So, kind of Eagles somewhat at full strength, Bucs not so much. So it'll be interesting what goes on today. Our trivia question today is about an Eagles-Bucs moment that a lot of people, it hurts to watch. I wasn't alive for it, and still it hurts to watch. Your trivia question, Donovan McNabb threw a pick six to cap off the 0-2 NFC Championship game, which shut down the Vet. Who intercepted McNabb and returned it for a touchdown to clinch that 0-2 NFC Championship game crown? Go to Super Bowl 37. Who was the Buccaneer corner or DB? And we will have that answer for you later. So if you have the answer, drop it down in the comments. But I know a lot of Eagles fans that were around for that not particularly fond of that moment.
No, it's kind of talked about as like the closing of just how bad the Vet was, and just a moment like that. I was also not alive for this, but I do remember having to watch old videos and be told that this is a god awful moment in the history of the Eagles.
Yeah, it's like the Vet was such like a spectacle in Philadelphia, but those teams were horrible at the Vet. You had the 1980 team that went to the Super Bowl, beat the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game at the Vet. And like that was really the only great team. You had a couple other playoff runs, Randall Cunningham, of course. But really that was it. And then you have these early 2000 teams with McNabb and Westbrook and the other and Brian Dawkins. But I mean, this was their best chance to get to a Super Bowl was this team at the Vet, and obviously didn't work out. John Gruden took it down. Gruden was with some Eagles fans last night. I don't know if you saw those videos. So tough moment in Eagles history. But if you have this answer, make sure to go comment it down. Now let's talk about something more positive. Let's go back to last week. Eagles took down the Rams. It was an electric second half, but that first half. Not so good on the offense. They totaled 7 points, 33 yards, and -1 passing yard. I don't know what was going on, but it was bad. In that second half, they scored 26 points on 255 yards, 203 of those in the air. 26 unanswered points, biggest comeback since Miracle at the Meadowlands 2. What changed?
I don't really think there's one thing that change. I think a large part of that had to do with the fact that they were losing and they had to start throwing. But I will say one thing. I really hope that what changed was this offense finally got that spark that they needed and that they really needed going forward. One thing that I've hated is how just negative it felt like the Eagles have been towards Kevin Patullo. And don't get me wrong. Has the Eagles offense been fantastic for the first, do some math real quick, the first 10 quarters of the year? first 2 games plus the first half of last week's game. Have they been great? No, not at all. Was Kevin Patullo possibly someone you should be blaming in that scenario? Yeah, he's the guy calling plays, so I can understand that. But we're acting like the Eagles just haven't been playing good offense the entire year. No. Has it been great? No. I'm not going to say it's not saying over here like it's the best in football. But people are so quick, and this is the one thing I just hate about a lot of Philadelphia fans. It's the fact that they just hop on the bandwagon right away, and they don't really know what they're talking about sometimes. And I honestly, one thing that is just firing Ken Patullo right away. Should he, at the end of the year, maybe fire Ken Patullo? Yeah, sure. We're 3 weeks in, guys. I really just don't think we should be jumping to these conclusions right now. Like, is it a struggle to not see A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith really get involved until last week's second half? Yeah, but this is a guy who's calling plays for the first time. This is a lot of pressure that he's being put on to make this offense work and win another Super Bowl. Like, his job is a failure if they don't win a Super Bowl. That's what we're talking about right here. So it's been a really tough thing for him to get used to. But I really hope that this is now the change in the guard, that he can finally feel confident in his own skin of calling plays and running this offense moving forward. So that's what I hope the change is really now for this offense.
A.J. Brown last week, 6 passes, 109 yards, and a touchdown. All that came in the second half. The last time Brown had over 100 yards and a touchdown or more in the second half as overtime was October 1st, 2023 against Washington. And it's the 5th time he's done it in his career. Devontae Smith, he called in the game-winning touchdown on 4th and goal from the 4. He had 60 yards, a touchdown, and 8 receptions, 5 catches on 3rd and 4th down. And it was great to see them finally get involved last week. I know you mentioned a little bit, but did Jalen Hurts have something to do with this? We saw him on the sideline say something to Kevin Patullo towards the end of the second half, and there was a thing he called like 11 audibles in the second half, like just a lot of different things going on in that second half where Hurts seemed to like he could have been maybe calling some plays. Was that part of it, or was it just some sort of discussion like, yo, like just let Hurts roll? Because when you can let him roll and let him call the game, or not call the game, but let him throw it around a little bit and do his thing, good things happen.
I think definitely a little bit. And this is the thing, if anybody has watched our past couple pregame shows would know. The thing I said about Ken Patullo really up front is that he needs to ride his guys. Like, he has a very talented group of veterans on this football team, especially on the offense, not only on the offensive line, but the weapons as well. AJ, it's crazy I'm calling Devontae Smith the veteran, but he almost basically is at this point. Saquon Barkley's been in this league for almost a decade. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl winning quarterback who's been, I think this is year 6 or 7 for him. He has a very veteran heavy team and all around. And it's really something that he just needs to rely on himself and lean on, because he's never done this before. It'd be one thing if this was like getting a Vic Fangio for just an offensive version. I don't really know like a good example for that. But if you get a guy who's done this before as a DC or as a head coach and has called plays for multiple teams, and he comes in and we struggle to start the year, you would be like, all right, this isn't a fit or whatever. But this is a guy who's doing this for the very first time. And I know he knows this offense, but he just needs to lean on them a little bit. And I really think he did that in the second half last week, Patullo. He leaned on Hurts. He said, Hurts, you're a winner. That's the thing with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does whatever he can to win a game, whether that's running for 85 yards and 3 touchdowns if he needs to, whether that's airing it out to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith like he did last week. He really can do whatever he needs to do to win, and he has the talent to do everything he can do to win. So if I'm Patullo, I just keep leaning on those guys because and obviously keep doing your thing, but just leaning on your veterans and things will go okay. Things will be all right. Lean on your quarterback that you have so much trust in, and you'll be okay moving forward.
Eagles have won 17 games in a row that were started and completed by Jalen Hurts. That dates back a calendar year, week 4, 2024 in Tampa. It has been an entire year since Jalen Hurts has lost the game that he started and finished. That is insane. Last week, 4 total touchdowns, 21 of 32, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. Once again, no interceptions. He did fumble the ball. It's the first time.
That was not his fault. That was not his fault.
When you got Matt Pryor out there, a lot of things go wrong.
No, he didn't turn the ball over. That is not his fault.
117.4 passer rating. Rushed 9 times for 40 yards and a touchdown, which did come on the tush push. Second half, 17 for 24, 209 yards. He was amazing in that second half. It's the first time in Hurts' career he's registered 200-plus passing yards and 3-plus touchdowns in the second half / overtime of a game. And Hurts he can kill you, man. He's sure. I love Hurts. That's for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Eagles have a perfect red zone touchdown efficiency this season. First time they've ever gone 100% in the red zone through 3 games since at least 2000. So good things happening down there. And the big turnaround for the Eagles in that second half could it carry over today? Well, this Bucs secondary ain't great. Against passes of 10-plus yards, they are first in yards per game allowed, and they are third in yards per play allowed. So, hey, maybe we'll see the Eagles air it out a little bit more today against this Bucs secondary. Could they?
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off, but the thing I noticed going into this game this year, especially, the Bucs have played 3 teams with pretty much top wide receivers in the NFL. Week 1, they played Drake London, who's widely considered a top 15 player. Then they played Nico Collins week 2, who I think is a top 5 guy. He's absolutely outstanding. And then last week they played Garrett Wilson, who some gave up on because the Jets don't have a quarterback, which is crazy to me. But Garrett Wilson's still a great player in this league. And every single week, all those guys were the leading receiver on their team. And I really think that's the thing today with the Bucs secondary, that A.J. Brown needs to take over and be the top wide receiver that we all know he is. AJ last week showed that he is still – people were saying that AJ had fallen off, which is crazy to me. He is still easily top 5 in the league, in my opinion, wide receiver, maybe even top 3 if you consider him that great. And just because he has a quarterback that runs doesn't mean he's not going to get his work. He will get his touches. And I truly think today he needs to take advantage of that Bucs secondary and really just dominate, as we say.
Yeah. One issue is that Jalen Hurts in his career is not good against the Bucs. Head coach of the Buccaneers, Todd Bowles, he has Jalen's number, and it comes with the blitz. They blitz the heck out of Jalen every single time they play the Eagles. Eagles' offensive line is at full strength, which is something they have not been over the last couple of meetings. But will they? I'm sure the Bucs will do it again. Will Jalen be able to kind of adjust to it a little bit more? Is he more familiar with it maybe and succeed, or is it going to be another struggle bus for QB?
Yeah, I definitely think he could. And a game that actually makes me feel confident about this is the Super Bowl last year. Hurts faced a lot of rush last year, a lot of blitzes from the Chiefs front 7. And we saw how great we know how great Jalen Hurts was in the Super Bowl last year, Super Bowl MVP. A big thing with him is breaking their hearts on third down. If they're going to bring 7 on a third down rush and they're going to play man to man in the back in the secondary, Hurts had to step up in that pocket and really get around and either use his legs or find the open man downfield. Like you said, offensive line is fully healthy, ready to go today. Lane Johnson with that stinger in his neck missed, I think, basically almost the entire game. I think he went out in the first quarter last week. He'll hopefully be good to go today and play the full game. It's saying that Bulls has Hurts number, and I'm not saying they don't. Bucs have won these games, but people talk about last year's game and how it was such a domination. And last year's game, in my opinion, that was just set up for the Eagles to lose at that point. I mean, they had their starting wide receivers were Paris Campbell and Jahan Dotson, who, no offense to those guys, I like Jahan. They're not A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Those guys are game changers right there. Eagles they forced Saquon out of the run, so they could not run the football last year, and they were forcing the wide receivers to get open. It just didn't work. And Hurts still played pretty decent last year. I know it wasn't the greatest game ever, and we got down, I think it was it 30-0 last year? 30.
It was bad.
It wasn't good. No, yeah, it wasn't good. So it's going to be interesting today because I really do think this is a crapshoot game between two teams who are almost as healthy as they can be. And I'm really interested to see how Hurts plays today. Because if Hurts has another good game today, we really need to be talking about Hurts being in this MVP conversation. I don't care how the first 2 weeks went with the offense. If we have another dominant offensive game today where Hurts is putting up 200-something yards, tossing 2 tutties and rushing for 50 and another touchdown, Hurts needs to be in that conversation with the Eagles being 4-0 if they end up winning today as well.
But Matt, he has all these touchdowns because he just He gets his tush pushed. It's just so easy they false start on every single play. You get to the one and it's a guaranteed false start. It's a guaranteed touchdown. It's a guaranteed first down on 3rd and 1. He can't be the MVP. He gets his tush pushed. They do illegal stuff in Philadelphia. He can't win MVP.
I shouldn't say I would be over the moon for the Hurts to win the MVP. I really think the MVP doesn't matter. I think winning Super Bowl MVP matters way more, obviously. But I would love for the NFL to have to accept Jalen Hurts as a regular season MVP because, man, people already hate us. I can only imagine how even worse people would hate them even more.
I don't even think the voters would vote for him.
Probably. There's a good chance some don't out of pettiness for just the tush push and the illegal stuff that they do.
The illegal stuff that really Eagles really breaking the law. We mentioned last year, no AJ Brown, no Devontae Smith, or Lane Johnson in Tampa. So Eagles, things turned around. They're all ready to go, and they're ready to eat. Someone else that was eating was the Georgia Dogs last week. They weren't just eating; they were devouring on special teams and defense. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, game-saving and winning blocks of field goals. It was awesome. Jordan Davis with one of the best moments in, can we say, Eagles history?
I'll say with this core, other than Super Bowl and playoff, take out playoff moment. I think that's the best regular season moment from like this core. I say core as in like since Jalen Hurts taken over quarterback. I really truly think that was like the best moment of this team. Maybe like Saquon on some of the runs, like the hurdle maybe, but like that's such a big play for this group. Like that's truly like their Philadelphia. The one before the first Super Bowl team, I truly think their regular season moment was the Elliott kick. No less a field goal in week 3 of a season as well. Funny enough, but that's like their moment for like regular season. That's where this team shows that they can do whatever and just they're destined to win. You're gonna look back in the playoffs and think like, man, I can't believe Jordan Davis took that kick back for a touchdown in week 3. Man, it's just crazy moments like that.
Yeah, Davis ran 18.59 miles per hour on the return, the fastest speed by a player over 330 pounds since at least 2017. Imagine you're just like walking down the street and you see a 6'6", 330-pound man just start running 18 miles an hour at you.
Yeah.
That's what was going. That's like a mountain stumbling down towards you. It's like in Indiana Jones when you got the boulder rolling after Hertzford. It was awesome. Davis, I want to go outside of this bucket. It was amazing, but Jordan Davis just flat out has been amazing this year. He lost nearly 30 pounds, and he is tied for the second most tackles among defensive tackles this season in the entire NFL. He's got 11. He also leads his position with 3 passes defended in 2 games.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he has been awesome.
He has. And I really want to give credit to him and Jalen Carter because no offense to Jordan Davis, but Jalen Carter, we talk about Jalen Carter and how important he is. He takes that load, man. When he's on the field, he takes them double teams and he makes it hard. He forces offensive lines to make other guys win. And when you have stars around on the other side, it helps. I truly think that Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are the best defensive tackle duo in the NFL. I don't think there's anybody that's even close to them. I really couldn't. Like, you got guys like, I don't even think Myles Garrett's a defensive tackle. He's taking the DN. You got guys like him and Mason Graham who have been okay to start their career, Mason Graham. But I truly think nobody tops the Georgia Bulldogs on the defensive tackle spot. And shockingly, the best defensive tackle duo in college 3 years ago when they were winning national championships at Georgia. Shocker. In the NFL, they translate over. Who would have thought that, But it's really great seeing the two of them shine. It's really great seeing Jordan Davis shine because he's a guy who I feel like as shown through the way that they haven't picked up his contract, that they haven't given an extension yet, that they feel like they really don't know where they're at with Jordan. They like him. They really like. Everybody loves Jordan. You can tell he's such a great guy, but they really don't know if he's it. They don't know if they can give him that second contract and keep him around. They kind of feel like he's a guy who could just get paid somewhere else and they can replace him in the long end. But he's making a really good case right now to get a contract extension in his future. And obviously Jalen is helping with that. Jalen's going to get his when his extension eligibility comes through. But it's going to be a really good thing having these two going forward the rest of the season and maybe even longer because Jordan Davis has been having one hell of a year and Jalen Carter just right next to him. I don't know how many teams are going to be able to stop both those guys in at the same time.
Yeah, and Davis, Eagles, you mentioned it with the contract extension. They haven't given it to him. They like Jordan Davis. They always have,
Yeah.
and they've for years have been like this. They're waiting for that big year for Jordan Davis. They challenged him to lose some weight. He did it, and this is the result. He has been awesome, and everything the Eagles have been managing since they drafted him back in 2022. We're finally getting that dominant Jordan Davis that they were envisioning. And another draft pick, another first-round draft pick, except from this year, go away from Georgia. How about the team that beat Georgia last night in the Roll Tide Roll? Jahad Campbell is the NFL's highest-rated rookie defender through 3 weeks via PFF at 84.6, one of the highest linebackers in the NFL rated. Campbell, man, he's been great.
I truly don't know. I can't believe like a injury scare dropped him down to us, man. It's just crazy that happened. But yeah, Jahad Campbell's just been so great this year, and it's unfortunately for this team, it's going to give them a tough decision come week 8 or 9 whenever one of their other linebackers comes off I think that he's on PUP, not IR, Nakobe Dean. Because man, right now, I'll give another shot. We have, I think, the best defensive tackle duo in the NFL. I think we had the best linebacker duo in the NFL too, in Zach Baun and Jahad Campbell. These two have been all over the field. Zach Baun, by the way, I hope he has another great game because he needs to start being a defensive player of the year conversation. That guy has been everywhere this season. But back to Jahad Campbell, he is just a great fit to Baun. They cover so much field. I feel like Campbell can cover anybody on that field. Obviously, speed team and wide receivers maybe not, but you need to cover a tight end, a running back, a wide receiver coming across the middle. Like Jahad has been all over the damn place. And it's just really impressive for a guy who you didn't know what he was going to look like at the next level with the injury scares. And you knew he had talent, but could he really be an off the ball linebacker and could he make tackle? He is proving right now that he is 100% worth the pick and quite possibly could be the defensive rookie of the year. Excuse me. I wouldn't say player of the year yet, but he has been so good this year on the defense. He is giving them life to a spot on the Eagles team that for years, nobody even thought about linebackers. They just, plug and play guys. They'll worry about that later. They have such a great linebacker duo now, him and Baun. And it's really because Campbell is just taking that big first step and he is acclimated to the NFL better than I've seen many rookies ever have before.
Yeah, what do the Eagles do when Nakobe Dean comes?
I don't know. It's a tough conversation because around that time, I think when he comes back, trade deadline's nearing. So I would hate to say you trade the guy because I really like Nakobe Dean too. But at this point right now, I don't know how you're going to be able to tell Campbell he doesn't have a job because he will have a job moving forward. He's the future guy with 4 years left on his rookie deal until you got to pay him. Nakobe, man, he's a free agent this year. I don't know what type of trade value they could get for him, but it's going to be a rough conversation for this Eagles team, which is a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have always have depth. I'd rather have the players and have to make the tough call than not have the players and have to figure out what to do. I always say that about having guys on your team. You always want to have the guys and worry about decisions later. So it'll be a tough call, but it may come down to Nakobe Dean not getting as much run as you hope he would, or maybe even going to 3 linebackers. Who knows? I don't think they would do that, but they very well could.
Could they try Campbell at edge rusher?
They could. That's another option. We'll really see how bad this Nolan Smith injury is. If we get to like week 8 or 8, I don't remember on the bye 9. But if we get to like week 10 in Green Bay and Nolan's not back yet, and it still feels like that tricep needs some help or some time to heal, you might have to move Campbell down to the front of the D line. And I think he could die there too, because we've seen him on blitzes and on rushes that he's been getting after the quarterback. I wouldn't say sacks, but like getting in their face. So that could definitely be an option they could go for. But it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a really interesting conversation in about 5 to 6 weeks where this defense is. Not only because we're probably going to, I would be shocked if we don't make a trade for some type of defensive player. You know Howie, he loves making deals. But it's going to be a really interesting conversation with Fangio and the rest of this defense and how this defense looks moving forward. I'll tell you what right now. This defense right now, obviously, because we don't have Smith in, this defense this week will not look the same come week 11 or 12. and that's for damn sure. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know who's going to be in there playing, but it will not look the same.
Let's move over to Tampa's offense now, which is pretty banged up. Mike Evans is out with a hamstring injury. He'll be out for a couple weeks. Baker Mayfield was questionable throughout the week with a bicep injury. He will play, and Chris Godwin is returning after injuring that ankle last year. He's making his season debut today. So we're going to see a lot of the rookie Emeka Egbuka, which is a really good name. Yes, I make a trade for him in fantasy. It did not work out. So we're still trying to do that. So far this year, 14 receptions, 181 yards, 3 touchdowns. He averages basically 13 yards a game. How are the Eagles going to, he'll be strapped up with Quinyamino Bay. But the Eagles got a lot on their hands with that Buka, and then you also got to worry about Godwin, and you got a good running attack from the Bucs as well.
No, yeah, they have a lot of weapons on this Bucs team. And like they had Mike Evans as well, who's not playing today, which, man, you just keep going down the line. It's kind of like the Eagles. They just got weapons everywhere. But it'll be really interesting because I truly think that Egbuka is wide receiver 1 moving forward until Mike Evans returns. Mike, as much as Chris Godwin is great, he's a former All-Pro. I truly think in the sky, the first option is Emeka Egbuka. And I think Quinyon's going to be surrounding day, if not Coop. They're going to keep him in check because he is having such a dominant first 3 games of the season, first 3 NFL games ever. And it's going to be interesting. It feels like the Bucs offense always does good against the Eagles. Like Eagles could win today, but you just feel like the Bucs offense is going to be in it today. I love Baker Mayfield. I think personally he's such an underappreciated quarterback in the NFL. I think he just doesn't get the credit he deserves. Like he's another guy who I think should be up there for MVP this season. And because he has great weapons and he knows how to get guys open and play well. So Egbuka, is going to have a really good day. I do really think that he will be the difference maker in this game if the Bucs were to pull out the W. If they go into today's game and Egbuka is dominating for 10 catches and 120-something yards, touchdown or 2, if I look at that stat line at the end of the day and the Eagles win, I'd be very shocked because I truly think if he's doing that on our corners, we're going to have trouble today, and I truly think the Bucs would get the win in that scenario.
Yeah, Baker statistically is one of if not the best quarterback in the NFL. It's ever since he went to Tampa, he has just reverged himself into an amazing quarterback, and he's really fun to watch. And where they come at their best, the Bucs, is in the final 2 minutes. Every week they've had a game-winning drive.
Yeah,
every single one. Week 1, 5 plays, 63 yards, minute 18, 25-yard pass from Mayfield, to Egbuka with 59 seconds remaining. Won the game. Week 2, 11 plays, 80 yards, 2 minutes and 4 seconds, 2-yard rushing touchdown by Rachaad White with 6 seconds remaining to win the game. Week 3, 7 plays, 48 yards, minute 49 minutes, 36-yard field goal from Chase McLaughlin with no time left to win the game. This season, in the final 2 minutes, the Bucs have scored 15 points, first in the NFL. 135 passing yards, first in the NFL. 151 total yards, first in the NFL. 9 first downs, first in the NFL. If the Eagles want to win this game, they better not let Tampa Bay have the ball last.
No, yeah, I literally was saying that. I had that in my notes, how they really need to dominate time possession. And I said that at the start of the show, if the weather's going to affect that, because keeping the ball out of Tampa Bay's hands is the biggest thing. Because if you let them have the ball last, there's proof in the pudding right there. It's not going to end well. They've had game-winning drives every single time this week. Baker, I feel like, is one of the best game-winning drive guys in this league, other than like Mahomes right now. I think he's still number 1. You cannot let him get that ball at the end of the game and that to me means you need to dominate time possession. You need to dominate early. Like I want them to be aggressive today, the Eagles. I want them to come out swinging with the passes that they were doing last week in the Rams game in the first half. I want it similarly. I want them to play the first half like they did the Kansas City Super Bowl. I want them to go balls to the wall, be aggressive. I know it's a regular season game and you want to win, but you need to make sure that you go ahead early, because if you do that and you remain in control, they won't get to have the chance to have the game-winning drive at the end of the game. Like if you can secure that, that's how the Eagles win this game. If they can secure not letting Tampa Bay get long drives. You're not letting them, dominate time possession. If they dominate time possession, the Eagles, I truly think they will win, because if they don't let the Bucs get the ball back, they will not get a chance to win.
Your inactives today for the Eagles: Adoree Jackson, Azeez Ojulari, Sam Howell, Drew Kendall, and Xavier Gibson. Howell is the third quarterback, so that means Tanner McKee is finally back, suited up, and he will be the QB2 today. So God forbid Jalen Hurts is out of the game, McKee will go in, and for the Bucs, you got CJ Brewer, Mike Evans, Christian Eisen, Kendall Vildor, and Josh Williams. So nothing really crazy for either teams. We knew about Adoree Jackson. How about Ojulari? I mean, this is not a good look. You need guys at defensive end, and you signed Ojulari in free agency, and he's inactive again.
Yeah, that just tells you that a Nolan Smith injury can't even get him on the field. I really don't know what you're thinking right there. Like, I really don't know if he has a spot on this team going forward. I will say it's good to see Tanner McKee back out there. He had such a fantastic preseason and training camp as well, that seeing him out there is good, because you have trust now in your backup quarterback. No offense to Sam Howell. He's been in this league for a number of years, and he's won some games, lost some games as well. But I do think that the biggest thing today is just Azeez Ojulari just can't get on the field even with an injury. That just tells you where the Eagles are at with him. And I just don't think at this point he could be a guy that you could see moving forward. I mean, I don't know. I truly don't think he has a future with this team anymore.
Yeah, it's not a great look for Ojulari. So we'll see what goes on with that. And the Eagles at defensive end this afternoon. All right. Notable matchups time here on the Eagles pregame show. Matt, what do we think? We're about 18 minutes away from kickoff, so give me two. Give me two notable matchups on both sides of the ball today.
So, number one, we alluded to the fact a little bit before. Emeka Egbuka versus Quinyon Mitchell. I said it before. Emeka is wide receiver one for this team. I truly think that's the guy that Quinyon needs to be shadowing all day, because he's going to be the guy that beats you. With no Mike Evans, Quinyon Mitchell needs to be on him all day. I was a little worried with Evans playing well this year before he got that hamstring injury. I was worried about this matchup, because I was like, man, our corners just aren't playing that great, and Quinyon can't cover two guys at the same time. So if Mike Evans and Egbuka were on that field together, I would have been really nervous, and hopefully we fix that issue if we play them at a later date. But Quinyon Mitchell versus Emeka Egbuka, I think it's going to be a battle between two really young guys trying to make their mark in this league. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes, because if Quinyon really hasn't just gotten destroyed by any receiver this year when he's one-on-one with them. And I'm not saying that Egbuka is just that great and he can do it right away, because he's still a young rookie. But I think this is the time for Quinyon to dominate and show off his skills really moving forward for the rest of this year. And then my other notable match for the day, Dallas Goedert. It felt like he wasn't even a part of this offense last week. He had a big touchdown that got them going last week for his only catch. He just feels like a guy that is finally back in this offense with Hurts, and he's a safety blanket. Tampa Bay has really covered tight ends well this year. I had it written down what their numbers are versus tight ends this year. It's given up just 14 receptions for 106 yards to opposing tight ends through 3 games. I truly think that Dallas can be a difference maker in that stat. They haven't really played the best of tight ends, guys like Kyle Pitts, who isn't really that good. I don't even know Houston's tight end, or the Jets. I think Mason Taylor, the rookie. This is like a veteran tight end for the first time that is actually good that they're facing. So I'd like to see Dallas get some touches if the wide receivers aren't getting the separation that they really need. I do think the wide receivers will play good today too. I truly think Hurts has his safety blanket back, and that's something that he's really going to look for today.
All right. Thank you to SeatGeek, who is a big sponsor of the show. They're the best way to get your tickets. Not just are the Eagles playing football for the next couple months, the Phillies are in the playoffs, and
they are.
And this week, that is crazy. This week, and the Philadelphia Flyers start in 11 days is their first game. There is just a lot going on right now, and the best way to get your way into that stadium or arena to watch these games is through SeatGeek or a concert, a show, whatever. It's all on SeatGeek. Use code Philly Sports Report. Save $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Again, Philly Sports Report, $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. And this is our SeatGeek standout stars. A standout star, being a star right now over in Ireland is Carson Wentz, who, if I'm looking at the Twitter feed, is looking like vintage Carson right now, which is not the 2017 Carson, but
what else is new?
The ones that we're not so used to. All right, Matt, back to Tampa. Who are your SeatGeek standout stars for the Eagles?
So I have one for offense, one for defense. My offensive one, it's kind of lame. It's Jalen Hurts. I truly think, we talked about that Todd Bowles and kind of owning Hurts a little bit. I think this is the day where Jalen Hurts, like I said, puts himself in that next echelon and next tier of quarterbacks. It makes him really feel like he is the guy in this league, a top 5 quarterback in this league. And I truly think today, if they were to pick up a big win over Tampa Bay, I think that it's going to be on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. Now, for the defensive side, I have Zadarius Smith. Nolan Smith out today. Somebody's got to step up in his place. I truly think Zadarius Smith is going to be, out of all the edge rushers we have, I think he would be the guy that would do it. So I got Zadarius Smith on defense, Jalen Hurts on offense. I truly think those two will be a big factor in today's game.
All right, thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring that portion of the show and the entirety of this show. All right, locks of the game. Eagles coming in -3.5 to Tampa. Over under 43.5. And we got some other locks. Matt, what are you going today?
So I am staying away from the points today. I have talked about it a lot. I think it's a crapshoot of a game. 3.5 just doesn't feel right. I think if the Eagles are going to win, it's going to be by a little bit more. I think if the Eagles lose, it's not going to be by 3 points. I think, maybe, but in that scenario, it wouldn't matter. You're giving Tampa Bay 3 points. I'm staying away from the points. I would take over the 43.5, the over under. I truly think this is going to be a little bit of an offensive day. I think these two teams at least throw 3 touchdowns. That puts you at 42 right there. They'll probably kick a field goal that puts you over the 43.5. So I would take the over on points today. I do think A.J. Brown is going to have another good day. I would have him for a touchdown. If you're betting on touchdown props, I do think he will find the end zone today against a secondary in Tampa Bay that has not done well covering number 1 receivers. I would also take over 1.5 Jalen Hurts rushing and passing touchdowns. I do think he will run and at least pass one today. I think that's a safe bet for today's game because if Hurts isn't doing that, unless we're dominating the run with Saquon, I don't know how they're going to win the game if he does have a rushing and a passing touchdown. And speaking of Hurts running, over 40.5 rushing yards from Jalen Hurts. I do think that they're going to need, with the blitzes, with Todd Bowles, that he's going to be dialing up. I think he's going to have to break the hearts of the Bucs on third down. That's going to give you a lot of rushing yards on 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 6s, and 3rd and 5s, and just rushing for 10, 11 yards on those plays. He needs to use his legs to break their heart on 3rd down, or if not, use his arm to find the open guy. But I truly think that using his legs will be the best option for him. So I would go over on the 40.5. A.J. Brown anytime touchdown, over 1.5 for Jalen Hurts rushing passing touchdowns. And like I said, take the point or go over with the over-under today. I truly think it's an offensive day from both these teams.
All right, back to our trivia question. Matt, give me the answer. Who picked off Donovan McNabb and returned it for a touchdown to close down Veterans Stadium and win the 2002 NFC Championship game?
Would that be one Rondé Barber?
Hold on. Let's get our drum roll.
Rondé Barber kind of beat
Rondé Barber is correct. Rondé Barber, intercepted. I don't know why the drum roll's playing again. All right, there we go. We'll play the drum roll again. He intercepted McNabb and returned it 92 yards for a touchdown in the final minutes of the game, effectively sealing the Buccaneers' 27-10 victory and their trip to Super Bowl 37. So Bucs ended up winning that Super Bowl, and it was one of the toughest moments in Eagles history.
Yeah. That's where you hated Rondé Barber and you hated Tiki because he was a Giant, and now you hate both the brothers.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right. Let's go to our Foco Fit Check. Thank you to Foco for sponsoring this portion of the show. Real fans needed the best gear. And Foco, they got it. Make sure to go over there. Link in the description for the save some money off of. You can get the overalls. You can get the bobbleheads. Gear up. Phillies postseason, Eagles regular season, a lot of things going on. Matt, You're not wearing white today because Penn State they disappointed you in the white. I'm sorry, I had to say. What are we going today?
We got the Eagles, red, white, and blue. A little bit of American. This is a partial support for U.S. Ryder Cup. Big golf fan as well. We're not doing great in that either. So just adding the more depressing for the weekend as well. But I gotta support the boys, Team USA. Hopefully, we can somehow mount the greatest comeback in Ryder Cup history. Not going to happen. So yeah, a little bit of red, white, and blue with the Eagles today. Just American patriotism.
I got the Super Bowl champion hoodie on, and just posted. Nobody's wearing hoodies in Tampa Bay right now. The real field on the field is 119.
Oh my goodness, that's
119
wow.
is the real field on the field.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is really hot. And Foco, they got some hot merch.
That's ridiculous.
So go over to Foco, get some hot stuff. All right, keys to the game, Matt. How are the Eagles going to win this game?
Oh, so keys to the game, very simple. Play aggressive and win early. I've talked about it all day today. They need to be aggressive on the offensive end. And because last week you saw when they were aggressive in the second half how great their offense was and how great they were humming. You need to do that early. And the second part with that, make Baker Mayfield feel uncomfortable. He doesn't have his security blanket is Mike Evans. He does not have him. He has Emeka Egbuka, who's a rookie playing his 4th game ever in the NFL. He has Chris Godwin coming back from a ankle injury, first game of the season. Make him feel uncomfortable with his weapons. Don't let him sit back in that pocket. I know it's going to be hard with the pass rush, and they have a good offensive line. I think they're down another offensive lineman, Cody Munch. I think that's how you say his last name. I don't think he's playing today either. I think he's out for a couple weeks. He might be playing. I might be wrong on that. But make him feel uncomfortable, Baker. Don't let him stay in this game. Dominate the time possession. You need to make him uncomfortable if they're going to win this game, and you need to be aggressive on the offensive side of the ball.
All right. Put your predictions in the chat. We're going to give our predictions. And the Eagles have always struggled in Tampa. It's just always been a thing. It's not just a new thing. Historically, the Eagles have some trouble there. And for me, this Eagles team, the way they won last week, they've given me this special feeling that they're just not going to lose to anybody this year. And I got the Eagles today. I mean, for me, I'm very superstitious and very things like this always gets me feeling weird. It's also nearly half the stadium is nearly Eagles fans down there in Tampa today. So give me the Eagles today, 33-24. I'm sure it will not backfire. Matt?
I'm going to be depressive. I'm going Bucks. 34-29. I think the Bucks win today. I don't.
See, Matt predicts a loss, and he goes Frozen.
Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Oh, there we go.
Every year, they go down to Tampa or they go down to Florida in September, and it just doesn't go well. I'd be very shocked if they win this game. Man, I just think that the Bucks offense is just going to be a little bit better down the stretch, and I truly think they're going to get the win today. I hope the Eagles win. I really think if they win today, I don't know who's going to beat them for the next couple of weeks because this team will be legit in my opinion. But right now, I'm going with the Bucks, 34-29. I have them winning.
I don't know if you can hear the. Okay, that's good.
I can. Yeah, keep them coming.
All right. So typically, I'm the one that's predicting the losses on here, and not the guest. So it's a good feeling that I'm not the Debbie Downer today. But hey, hopefully I'm right today. Thank you to everybody for coming on to the Eagles pregame show. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring. Thank you to Foco for sponsoring the Fit Check. We appreciate all your continued. Make sure to check out PhillySportsPorts.com postgame for the postgame recap. And also, throughout the week, we got a lot of Phillies things going on throughout the month of October, so make sure you're tapped into that. Also, when the Phillies playoffs start, we'll have these shows Phillies style, so make sure you're not missing those pregame before every Phillies playoff game. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Go follow the social medias, and let's have a great day. Let's win a football game, and let's go watch the Mets go a playoff spot. Go Birds!
Go Birds!